Well, hello and welcome to another Evolve Alliance Provider Member Showcase video. I'm so thrilled today to have with me Simon Bishop from Dash Technology. Hi, Simon.
Hi, Sue. How are you?
Great. Now, I'm thrilled to be recording this showcase because some people might not know, but Dash Technology in one of its previous forms is actually the company that built the Evolve Alliance system. Kevin and the team built the platform and also our business analysis software. So we already loved what you do. And of course, now seeing the things that you're bringing to market to support the advice community, we love even more. So, Simon, how would you summarize in a nutshell what it is that Dash Technology does?
There's a lot to it, Sue, but in a nutshell, I suppose we're best described as being able to provide advice software and also platform services, whether that be on the investment or super side for clients.
Great. And I know that you share this common goal that we have is reducing the cost of advice and being able to make sure that advisors can run really efficient businesses and deliver outstanding services to clients. So we are going to drill into a little bit about detail on how you do that very shortly, but I always find the best way or the best people to hear from when we're talking to showcase providers is the actual advisors who use them. So we might just play one of your advisor testimonials and hear straight from the horse's mouth now.
My name's Jamie Arden and I'm from Kofkin Bond & Co, based in Melbourne and Sydney. We made the transition around 6 months ago. We sort of started using it as an integrated data hub, but have fully dived into the CRM system. It builds our SOAs, our document generation, our research. We're sort of using it as our main source of information within the business. Best experience I've honestly had in the industry. We sort of, even from meeting the CEO and the managing partners and just the entire team there, we can sort of pick up the phone at any time and we've always got someone to help. I've sort of found, no questions silly with them. I've really posed a few things that I think would work great for my business and they've actually worked back the other way and said, have I considered certain things? And I think that was when I sort of fell in love with the team. It was like, they weren't just accepting what I was saying. They were saying, hey, this is a really good idea. Let's step it out together. And we've come back with some really great solutions and they've gone away and built it in a timely manner, which is, I guess, in the financial services industry in Australia, is something quite unique in my experience. I've used many systems in the industry and I find a lot of them archaic and there's still that process to go. But, it's finally something that's moving forward with how our world works. We use our phone and these guys have sort of looked at the iPhone and said, okay, well, I want to use an app that I want to use and it's best of breed technology. So, I look at that as if I find a system that I like, it's not, hey, I have to jump into a new system. It's okay, how do we get these two systems to work together? And so I think when you're looking to expand your business even further, whether it's marketing, accounting, finance, legal, wherever you want to take it, this is the only system that's going to do that. The impact for us has been time saving. So, I think we used to use multiple systems to create efficiencies in collecting data and research and things like that. But what would happen was there was always double entry. So I might have been time saving on one end, but maybe adding time to another. So what I've been able to do now is get rid of some friction points that we have within our business. So different departments of our business can actually work more in line together. And so I think, having an open source of data where I can push and pull has created those efficiencies, and especially around document generation as well. Templates. We've used existing businesses from the US and things like that, which was around the document generation. But what these guys have built at Raw is something different and it's really leading edge. And even when, as I said, I've looked internationally for document generation and I think what they've built is really leading edge worldwide. So, when you're really getting to depths of templating and coding, different documents that you want and the way you want graphs presented to clients, that can be coded for you, pulled through from the data that you're already using and presented to the clients in a quick and efficient manner. Oh yeah, I would recommend Raw. They've changed our business, and we see a long-term future as well. We like to look at long-term futures, and I was probably jumping it between a few things too much at one stage of technology, but, I've laid some really good foundations. So I would say jump in and give them a go. When you reach out to Raw, you're sort of just not getting that customer success manager that you're at the bottom. It's the same sales pitch. I think when you're talking to Raw, you're actually talking to someone that wants to hear your story, wants to hear how you actually work as a team. And that's the beauty of Raw. Everyone's system within Raw is actually going to be their own system. So the way I use Raw will be different to how you use Raw. And that's where I think the uniqueness comes from. So if you're ringing up, you can sort of explain your customer journey and where your friction points are. And I reckon Raw will be able to find that solution for you.
Oh, look, that is music to my ears. I know that there are a lot of advisors getting great outcomes from using different components of Dash technology software. So why don't we go into a little bit of detail now, Simon? Can you share with us what is it that you do?
For sure, Sue. And I think to give it some context, the topic today is really how can we reduce this ever-increasing cost of advice that advisors are facing. And I think it's best highlighted in a recent study by KPMG, where they essentially came up with a figure or a number, working out the average cost of providing comprehensive financial planning advice. And believe it or not, that number was $5,335. The problem with that is the average cost that the advisor is able to charge the client was far lower at $3,660. So at Dash, we're looking at ways that we can bring that cost of advice down. And we're able to do that through a range of our different products and services. So we think technology can assist your members by providing them an integrated front office, by providing them cash flow modeling optimizer tools, not just calculators, something that doesn't require a paraplanner to spend hours rerunning scenarios. We think it's important, obviously, and critical that they have access to templates that really work. And as the sort of quality of advice report that we've all seen recently, we're seeing an ever-increasing move towards being able to provide digital advice capabilities. And then finally, which I think really underpins our mission statement of what we're looking to bring to market, is being able to integrate your advice software with your investment platform. And it's these sort of products and services that we have at Dash that we think we can bring that cost down. Now, we've done our own numbers on this, and we believe that we can bring that cost down to under $3,000, putting back another $2,500 in the advisor's pockets. And I think the best way to show you how we can do that is really target a few different components of what we do when it comes to producing comprehensive financial advice.
That would be great. Thank you. And I think you've got some slides to walk us through. And it's a fascinating place that we're in the market right now, because the advice profession has been around for quite some time, and yet technology has not kept up with where we need it to be. So I know there's so many advisors right now looking at this conundrum. Now, as business coaches, we help people sort out their pricing. And sure, we can show people how to charge more and how to get the confidence and how much make sure they're delivering value for that. But we're always making sure that that value conversation is front of mind. And so why should advisors have to be charging more? Why should clients have to pay more just for outdated, clunky systems and inefficient back offices? So I think, not only you've made the point really beautifully around driving the cost of advice down so people don't have to pay it, but it's also about building in a profit margin to build sustainable businesses. But also, I think there's a big piece around risk management as well. We want to deliver better outcomes for clients and better experiences, but also to protect the business so that there's less margin for error, there's less human components that can create data entry issues and get advisors back into the place of needing to remediate for errors. So I know there's all sorts of things that you in your little toolkit there that help with advisors. And it's also worth noting too that we do have a number of different provider members that have technology solutions, and there's a plethora of options for advisors to look at out in the market. So within our portal, we also do have some business management tools and templates that can actually help you get a bit of a framework to look at, well, what's the system I'm using now? What are its shortfalls? What do I not like about it? What am I trying to achieve? So I can look at different service providers and start making a short list of who I want to bring into the business and really tackle my problems, at the same time as being open to saying, well, I know what's not working right now, but I also don't know what I don't know about what is out there that it wasn't even on my radar. So as we walk through these things, Simon, I know some people are going to be watching going, oh, we've already got something that does that, or the bit that we're using actually isn't broken. And I think it's important to know you have this beautiful end-to-end system that people can use, but they can also take components of different things, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an important point, because we have advisors and licensees that use us for a range of different reasons. So one of those might be to use us as the complete tech stack with some of our integrated third parties, whereas others really just want us to act as that conduit of data between two of their existing applications that they use. So there's many different ways in which you can use our advice software or platform services.
Yeah, that's great. And I know the team are fantastic at actually working together with advisors to figure out the best outcome, not always saying we've got the best widget, but to figure out the best outcome for each firm. So let's have a look. Tell us more.
Fantastic. So I'll just open up my presentation here and share screen. As I've mentioned, we are Dash Technology Group, and essentially, Dash was launched in April of this year. And so while the brand itself is very new, the businesses that underpin that brand certainly aren't. And what you're looking at there are three different businesses that came together to form one company. So Wealth02 is more your traditional wrap or platform service for your clients. Raw Software, formerly known as YTML, so we've gone through a few name changes now, is sort of a best of breed financial planning suite application. And then that third one is a product called Neo, but that's not really a sexy product. That's more a back-end wholesale managed funds trading platform. The two that we're going to focus on today, or really the one, is Raw Software. So by combining these two products or these two businesses, what we're looking to do is solve that end-to-end advisor experience, the issues of using multiple systems, fragmented, having to log into one, log out of another, and all that sort of administration cost that sits in between. For us, this has been amazing, because not only have we doubled our headcount, which obviously increases our ability to develop and build integrations and support, but also it's meant that we've been able to attract some real key players in the industry. So there's just a high-level structure of our board and executives. A lot of your members would be familiar with the name Jeff Lloyd, who was ex-CEO of Perpetual and MLC. And I think more recently, JB we've got Darren Petiona, co-founder of Hub24 and Coin Software. And then also Richard Barber, who was the founder and CEO of Class Super. So you can see there we've got a wealth of experience. And a lot of
categories there, that's for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of us have worked with these guys over the last 20 years as well. When I talk about two products coming together, it should be worth noting it's actually two high-quality products. So despite Wealth02's infancy in that it's new technology, it might not quite have the market share of a NetWealth or Hub24, but as far as the advisors are concerned, it's still ranked really high, particularly compared to a lot of the incumbents in the market. We've actually, in fact, since the merger, undertaken a complete revamp of our UX and UI, so we believe that user experience is only going to get better. On the financial planning side, which is really the component that will predominantly target some of the problems that we've identified today, is Raw Software. So the guys have done an amazing job in building out, as I said, this best of breed approach to building a tech stack. Our real strength is around integration and advice document generation. So how can we produce the most efficient and best SOA ROAs in the market? The only product ranked above us is Fin365. They're predominantly a CRM. So from a financial planning point of view, we have no peer on that side of things. As I move through, I won't spend too much time on this slide, but I think the message here is that, yes, we are looking to integrate both advice software and platform, but really we see ourselves as a more client-centric platform than perhaps some of the ones that some of your members are currently using. And what I mean by that, if we look at the evolution of platforms over the last 20 years, we started off with the master trust structure back in the, like a Vanguard in the late 90s. We had the wraps in the early 2000s that gave clients access to direct equities and managed funds. Then we saw the NetWealths and Hub24s with SMAs. We'll have all that, but it's really more about focusing on the client's needs. And if we go back to the quality of advice report that was out recently, it's really about what's in the best interests of the client. And I think our solutions will highlight that today. From a software point of view, we only really build what we're experts in. So whether that be the CRM, the online fact find, our next generation goals-based modeling tool, the soon to be released portfolio construction tool, which will include data feeds, and importantly, the digital advice piece. Obviously, what we're doing is looking to integrate that into the platform. In fact, that's already started. You can now open up an account on Dash platform from within the software. But you'll see there, that's all wrapped around by the advice marketplace. So what we've got is the ability for advisors to actually pick their own tech stack and access some of the best products in the market that are fully integrated with our software and our advice document generation capabilities. In terms of what our products look like, or the different applications within the advice software piece, the ones I've highlighted in red are really what I want to focus on today, because these predominantly are the ones that will target this issue of the cost of advice and how we can create efficiencies for advisors when it comes to not only capturing client data, but also producing advice. If I just go on to Archer, let's start with that, because this is really, along with our digital advice piece, been one of our biggest selling points in the market thus far. And think of this for all the X-Plan users out there, which still has a place in the market. This is your sort of X Tools Plus, but in new tech. It's client-facing, it's goals-based. It's something that you can use as a disturb tool with your clients to, just on the basis of entering a couple of data points, you can quickly identify that need for advice. But importantly, as you do ongoing reviews, it's a great tool for showing that ongoing value of advice as well. So it's not just a calculator, it's an optimizer in that it'll even recommend strategies for the advisor. It will crunch a whole lot of algorithms and data in the background that would otherwise take paraplanners hours to do as they build out their cash flow modeling for clients. So that's obviously can be taken as a standalone product or as part of the integrated suite. What I love about Archer is that we're trying to shift the conversation away from the performance of the client's portfolio and more back towards, are they on track to achieve their retirement goals? And one such example that we love to demonstrate is that, let's say a client's coming in for review and their portfolio's dipped $100,000 on paper. Well, let's not talk about the investments. Let's focus on, that might be the case now, but how can we still allow you to reach your retirement income goal? So what Archer will do, it might make suggestions. It'll say with the click of a button, well, you need to either A, contribute another $6,000 a year to super, or B, work 2 years longer. And that's just one example of the sort of capabilities and efficiencies you get by using our sort of goals-based modeling tool.
And then, so Simon, is that, sorry to interrupt, is that multi-goal? So it's not, it just doesn't just look at retirement in isolation. Correct. It builds in all of the goals that clients have.
Absolutely.
Between now and then. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Good question.
And can it do different entities? So if they've got funds in personal names, joint names, self-managed super fund, you can do all of that? Yeah,
absolutely. Trust, self-managed funds, personal, joint, all the as many entities as you like. Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. And does it do anything around risk insurance?
So you can capture your needs analysis in risk, right? So you can work out what the requirements are, and then we would access like an Omnium, or if they're X-Plan users, a risk researcher for the product comparisons. And we'll cover off how those integrations work as well.
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
The other pretty cool piece as well, which is topical at the moment, is really another way of delivering our advice to clients. So we can talk about the efficiencies in generating the advice, but how can we better engage our clients through this process? And and look, this is such cool tech that Kevin and the team built. This is really our version of digital advice. So this is patent pending technology that allows us to convert any Microsoft Word document into an interactive viewing application. So at the moment, we've built out dynamic doc capability for ROAs, SOAs, and look, the next step is to continue that throughout any number of documents or templates that you need to produce from Dash. That might be ongoing service agreements, opt-in, FDS. There's no limitation on what dynamic docs can do. Now, what is dynamic docs exactly? So essentially you would generate your SOA in traditional form. You could still present it as a PDF or a Word document. However, just by clicking one button, this will reconfigure that whole document into a web page. And the beauty of this, and again, in line with the recent report, is that you're able to provide a more aesthetically pleasing experience for the client. They can rather than sift through tens and tens of pages, they can just click on a certain section and look at the level of detail that they wish. The charts and graphs are interactive. They can hold their cursor and see their retirement income increase or decrease over time, or their capital increase, whatever it might be. But there's a whole lot of other cool features within there as well from a compliance perspective. So you could put in a little checkbox where the client needs to select before they can move on to the next section of the document. You can track their screen time. I mean, let's say that they've skipped over the fees component. Might be worth picking up the phone. You can
then making a file note that you had that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my favorite, is that the client can ask the advisor a question on the web page. They can respond, they can have a complete conversation. And then at the end of that conversation, all the advisor needs to do is hit save to file note, and that's recorded back in the CRM for compliance purposes. I think it's a great tool should you ever need to defend your advice, because everything's obviously time and date stamped. One of the latest features that we've brought in is the video concierge. So this is where, through artificial intelligence, the avatar will actually walk the client through the SOA, and it's got the smarts to pick up everything specific and relevant to that client. Now, the advisor also has the option of recording their own video. So it really gives that personal touch. And it's not just a great tool that you can do online. It might even be something you want to bring them into the boardroom and do in front of them. So look,
I've seen advisors use this both ways, actually, when they're doing that presentation, instead of taking extra time to put a PowerPoint deck together or something that's quite separate to the SOA, they put it in here and then they can bring it up on screen. But then the client then still does get the link. So in their own time, they can go through the different elements. And as you say, you've got that time tracker to be able to show, yes, they actually did look at these different components. I just think it's such a beautiful way to bring that advice to life. And there's a lot of talk about video SOAs at the moment. It feels like this is that sort of halfway step that blends, well, actually afterwards the client can press the button and it will download a physical document for them if that's what they want.
They can still look at it in its traditional form. But that's a really good point you raise, is the PowerPoint, because we have a lot of clients that have historically done that sort of summary prior to presenting the SOA. And look, we did, one of Australia's largest licensees, we configured their strategy paper in dynamic form. So that saved them hours. It would typically take them a few hours to build that strategy paper.
For every individual client, absolutely. Yeah. I've seen it happen. Yeah. So this is beautiful.
Yeah, fantastic. So look, and the other thing as well, where we might be a little bit different to some of the end-to-end and incumbent providers in the market is really, as I said, the ability to seamlessly integrate to some of the best applications out in the market. One of the benefits of the recent merger is our scope to build more and more integrations. And you can see on the right-hand side some of those that are already coming. I know that Product Rex has just been released, so I need to move that across to the left. And I think MoneySoft is very, very close as well. I think that's what the universe looks like now, but that's only going to grow in the next 12 to 24 months.
So let's just be really, really clear about this. This means that if a firm is either already using any one of these providers or intends to use anyone, it means that rather than having the potential for double data entry, which is the problem now, you might have something in one system, and to do your modelling, you need to type it into another system. You've got that integration working so the data feeds together. Yeah,
great point. And you're right, exactly that. So, when we talk about the cost of advice, a lot of that relates to double key entry and having administration staff actually, having to rekey the fact find data or take the results from their research provider, put it in the SOA. I mean, our integrations are very broad and deep. If we can map to a certain field, we will. It's not like a lot of those open API integrations. It's really just name and contact details. Sometimes you might not be able to map 100% depending on what customization a licensee's done to their hosted site. But typically our integrations are very broad and very deep. And as you say, having the SOA coded in such a way that when it comes to generating the advice, they just tick all the different products they've used, and that'll suck the data straight through.
Fantastic. And it's the risk mitigation too there that I think is a huge attraction to this as well. Every time a human has their fingers on something, there is the potential for human error. Particularly the high volume firms, that it's quite dangerous. So that's great.
Well, I mean, we're now talking about a scalable solution, aren't we? So we don't want to exponentially increase our cost of administration every time we want to grow the business. And I think having the right tech stack in place from the start is critical to that. Look, I'm on to clients now. And look, one of the things that people probably don't realise is how big we are. I mean, obviously, we've got existing clients on the platform side as well as the advice software side. So we're a tech stack that really suits everyone from that sort of one-man band advisory firm all the way up to the larger licensees and institutional level as well. So as I've said, Dash has probably got a few names there that a lot of people wouldn't realise. I've actually got 2 slides on the pricing here because obviously, given our long-standing relationship, Sue, we love to offer a discount to your members. But what I just want to show first is our recommended retail, just so you can get a feel for what sort of discounting that Sue's negotiated on your behalf. And what we've got there is 3 different packages on the advice side. Look, I won't go into too much detail here. Needless to say that the basic is really your admin license. Standard is everything that the admin has, but the ability to connect to the App Store and access other third-party applications, as well as being able to access our online fact find. And I want to pause there because that's just gone through another enhancement as recently as late October, early November, where now you can take it. Now you can take an online fact find. You could carve it out into various fact finds depending on your client demographic. You can chop in, you could add in questions, take out questions, bring in your risk profile questions. Really, you've got the flexibility to build your own white label custom fact find that suits your clients. And then the premium license is essentially everything that the advisor requires or the paraplan. Anyone that needs to produce advice would have a premium license. And that gives them access to obviously our ROA, SOA strategy wizard and templates, but as well the dynamic doc capability that we discussed in a previous slide. The only add-ons there from a Dash point of view would be the portfolio tool for data feeds, which is coming soon. But right now, we've got Archer, the cash flow modeling tool, and that recommended retail price is at $200 plus GST per user per month. But for the Evolve Alliance members, as I said, we've discounted our recommended retail price significantly. So the basic goes from 15 to 10, standard 75 to 60, and then obviously the premium goes from 150 down to 90. If they want to add in Archer as well, that's another 160, which in itself is a 20% discount. I think the best way to, because it can be quite overwhelming for members looking at this for the first time. So what I've done now is put together a slide on what a typical tech stack might look like using the Dash suite, as well as some of our integrated third parties. So if you are, let's say, a one-man band, you're a single advisor that has to do everything, you would need a premium license because, as I said, that gives you the ability to produce advice. You then take on Archer, the cash flow modeling tool, Omnium for risk, and Chant West. Now, I've just based this on what most advisors are subscribing to at the moment. However, as you could see on one of the earlier slides, there's more integrations now available. So you might not like Omnium. You could swap that out and put in Product Rex. You might want to take out Chant West and add in Lonsec when it's available. So the flexibility is there to build your own tech stack based on the productivity apps that you feel fit your requirements. And then to give you an idea on price, you can see there that the cost per month is $508. What are advisors saying about us? Look, I'll let you guys be the judge, but there's just some key points there in how we've improved their daily operations. So the feedback's been they can reduce their client fees. Obviously, we've created a lot of improvements and efficiencies through the ability to capture data and then produce advice. And then obviously client satisfaction, that's important. And I think the bottom one's particularly important in that it's a nimble partnership. So we are really receptive to client feedback in terms of what to build. What does the market want? What do your advisors need? And I think Archer's a really good example of that. Our head of product, Cameron O'Sullivan, who built Archer, is really receptive to understanding, what's important to you. And, we're really quick at building in certain functions that we think that client or the market may require.
Great. And so, Simon, there's so many, what I love about this is that it feels like Dash is one of the first to the financial planning profession to actually bring the opportunity for integration. So you can use Dash as your core partner, I guess, but you guys really are agnostic. You've got some tools that you've developed in-house that are fantastic, but if advisors are using a different tool already, they know and love it, and the whole change management piece would just be too difficult in the firm. You will play nice. You will integrate. You will lend your technology expertise to help people be able to build this tech stack that's individualized and suited to the firm, right?
For sure. I mean, we've got a lot of users who are mandated to still use Xplan. So, we act as that conduit between Xplan and other applications that they use that can pass data back and forth. We've got, as I said, so many different integrations there that, for us, we've even got 4 different modeling tools there. So while we have our own, and I've obviously talked a lot about it today, there's at least 3 others I can think of, another one coming. So really, as you said, we do remain agnostic and we just want to provide the best tech suite available to the market.
Yeah. And the other thing that I really love is that you are actually able to speak with advisors and help them figure out, because we know that it's not necessarily the natural skill set of a lot of people working in advice firms. They're not technology people. They don't have a degree in IT. So I know that your sales team is fantastic at actually helping people understand what are their needs, what's the best way to put something together. So in terms of that, what is the best way for people to reach out to you?
Oh, look, they can just go to our website, have a look at the map of Australia, click on the state that they're in, and then that'll connect them straight through to either myself in Victoria and Tasmania or one of my colleagues around the country. And as you say, we really do position ourselves as a consultant in a way. So we go in there, we work out, how can we improve different parts of their business? We don't just offer software. We don't just offer platform. Remember, our team's been responsible for some of the biggest template and data migrations for the biggest institutions in the land going back 12 years. So you don't have to take everything we do. We can just select different components, whether that be a product or a service.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we will put all of the links in the show notes and or the description of the video here. Simon, thank you so much for sharing all of this info with us. I know a number of clients that are using Dash, and it really has made the world of difference. So we're thrilled to have you on board as an Evolve Alliance provider member. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Sue. Appreciate it.
Cheers.